So on top of the stuff that we're kind of paying attention to, is there anything specific that you want to work on that you want to bring up before we get started?
Positioning correctly for the next play. I feel like I know when I should be going, but the way I position puts me in a spot where I'm just not making the most optimal touches.
Okay, gotcha. Um, so just to get a little bit more information, I've kind of realized that basically there's two main thought process ways, like two main routes your brain can take for how to position. You can either focus on so I guess the most relevant cross example would be for like soccer, where in soccer you can play man to man or you can play zone. So I attribute that to pretty similar to this. In Rocket League, what you'll notice is most players will take one or two approaches to how they read a play. They will either specifically read the player or they will read the positioning on the pitch. The player is obviously man to man, and then the positioning is basically a zone coverage idea. So if you know your other teammates are covering such and such zones, and you know which zone you need to cover. Do you happen to know which one you prefer?
I think so. When I first started out, and like I was man to man, but I'm transitioning more into a zone play style, mainly due just from like knowing when because I've been playing with Shy a lot recently, and
Uh,
we've been just discussing a lot about fake challenging and then rotating out because the ball's over my head, and then they're behind me,
mhm.
and trying to just, I guess, body block them and force them into the corner,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
but not actively challenging. So I would say it's more zone.
Okay. I would, in all honesty, think that that's probably the smarter decision for a third man. Is that a role you want to keep, or do you want to look at ways we can mix that up a little bit?
Just mix it up a little bit.
Okay,
Just
solid. Yep.
yeah.
So, doesn't matter your role, having the ability to do both man to man and zone coverage is very important. So, but we'll definitely look at where we can prioritize a little bit more of the man to man while keeping like optimizing your zone coverage situation. So, all right, let's go and jump on it. That's fine. So that's forced over your head. So it's good for you to just leave it. Interesting there. You happen to remember what was happening on calls here?
No, I don't specifically remember. I believe because I'm just so used to just them being so fast on turning on things that I'm just in my head I've already decided that Snipes' decision is to turn around for this
Mm-hmm.
before even going through what comms are going through.
Gotcha. That was not the person I wanted. I would say that the optimal play here is probably for him to turn. The thing is, yeah, he should be going for this. He can see that no one's challenging right now, and he's closer to the ball than you, and he doesn't have as good of a defensive position as you do. So it is quite reliant on comms, but if you give him the go-ahead to turn, or you call third man early and he knows that you are kind of positioning in the midfield, he should probably be going for this. But given that he doesn't, okay, so yeah, you turn expecting him to go for it, which is actually good. In all honesty, here, you can probably turn back a little bit or at least park it in the mid for him to give you a better passing option. By the time you get over here, you're not a very good passing option for him because you're all on the same
Gotcha.
side of the pitch. So if you really want him to go for the ball, backing off a little bit further would be smart. Obviously, unless your comms are immaculate, you might not know how much boost he has. If he's zero, he's probably not hitting this ball. So if you can identify that earlier, it will give you a better insight into whether you can be close or whether you need to be close or whether you're able to be further away as a passing option. Um,
Uh,
so that's the read I see. Fortunately, when a mistake like that happens, it's basically just going to happen. Not much you can do about it at that point. So let's see. Here, ideally, you want to be a little bit more patient. This is technically a reachable ball if you had stopped. If you had stopped here, then if Ghost gets the same touch, that's a ball you can read. So there, if you know that they should have possession, as long as they don't hugely screw it up, then you can generally be okay with letting them come to you. If you have no angle on the challenge, if you have no right to get to the ball in any amount of time before they do, then as long as there's not any other huge threat, which in this case there isn't, let them come to you, and more likely than not, you'll be able to get a read. And if you can't, no problem. The exact same thing happens. You should have a teammate behind you. So if you can park this one, you probably get this 50-50 or a hard win. 50-50 throws off the opponents and buys your teammates more time. Hard win, you guys might even have good offensive positioning after that. In any case where it doesn't work, you're just doing the exact same thing. So you lose nothing and you only have potential to gain. So does that make a little bit of sense there?
Yeah.
So patience, especially if you're going to be prioritizing a bit of a third man, or not necessarily a third man role, but like a little bit of a deeper role, patience can be your best friend, because even at some of the highest levels of the game, the players they have to just make one tiny mistake, and instead of them making a good play, they've just passed you the ball. That's literally all it takes. It's just one small mistake. This guy either doesn't have boost or isn't good at air dribbling, so he gave you potentially a pass if you had stayed there. And more often than not, that will happen. Good touches there. So that's fine, as long as you get the read that's going in. You being this far front post is kind of not ideal, because it leaves the back post really open. You can kind of tell by the fact that you don't jump that you're not really ready for this. As awkward as it would be, if you can park it back post earlier and then really just watch for the shot, you can save this if it goes in, if it's on target. As long as you get this read, though, perfectly fine play. Buy yourself some time. He's going to have a hard read and get some control of the ball. So good recovery on it. I like the idea, trying to beat him. On defense...
I just have to switch over to my laptop real quick. 1 second.
Go ahead, no problem.